Well, that is awesome. Thank you. That was great. You guys getting in a little early spring practice. I like that. Well, how's everybody doing? It's been a while. Edgar, that's the same little buddy, right? Well, good. Well, first and foremost, I can tell right now the acoustics in here, we get a little feedback, a little echo, but that's all right. What do you think, Albert? That's what I'm talking about. Guys, I can't tell you how excited I am for the day, how excited we are as a program, how happy I am for the guys who chose to be Gators. And, moving forward, even the 5 guys that are joining us early that'll be for spring practice, there's a lot of things that go into it. And, a lot of relationships, a lot of things to be built. And things are still trending so fastly upward, I can't believe it. We're getting there with the facilities, which has been a big, huge asset for us as we continue to move forward, collecting future Gators. The class itself, as we looked at it when we got here, one of the key areas we needed to do was made sure to take care of, areas that we felt were always big to the Gators. We've started those inroads in that Tampa area. I think we spread throughout the state and focused on the fact we got a number of guys, that were highly rated in the state of Florida, and those numbers will continue to rise as we move forward. That's something that's exciting. We've been able to get around to some other areas because of that Gator brand and open a lot of doors, and that's good. And one of the things that I would really like to say how excited I am about the former players who got behind what we were doing in recruiting and believe the direction we're headed and have been so supportive in everything that we're doing. Part of the needs, some bigger bodies. Obviously, secondary is big, and as we looked at it, we tried to stay balanced throughout each position group so we don't get that big turnover, in certain spots. And moving forward, I know these guys are excited about the direction we're headed, the direction the university has allowed us to go, and those are some fun things. So with that, as you know, I'm not anointing anybody freshman All-American, even though I think over the last couple of years we've had a few, and some of those guys that some of you guys maybe didn't even know their real names before they came here. So we're excited to welcome this group in and usher in a new group of Gators. Questions?
You guys will raise your hand. We'll get your microphone like we've done in the past. Questions for Coach?
Got old school Tampa Bay hat on. I like that. Haven't seen one of those in a while. That's pretty good. Boy, that's easy.
Zach, right up front.
All right, Zach.
Jim, obviously the news that just broke on James Robinson. First of all, can you talk about how big the addition of his signing is and how everything that transpired this past week?
Well, obviously, as in all players, the important thing is you do your research in your background and what exactly went on. My guess is there's a few people in this crowd right here that maybe have some regrets on some things that they've done, and yet at the same time take responsibility for it. Here's the good thing. We get an opportunity to be involved in his life. We get an opportunity to help him move forward as we do all the players on our team. And you know what? I'm excited about him being a Gator.
And with his signing, I think you already had it before his addition, but you guys signed the most players in the state of Florida in the top 50. I know coming into this cycle that was a goal that you had to do better in the state of Florida. How nice is that to be here on this day with those results?
No, I tell you, it is a true process as you're doing it, but it's not just about the numbers and the who, but how they fit, and that's a good thing. We're excited about that factor, but yet we've got to continue now. We've got to continue to go, and that's already started. We've obviously already had some junior days. We've had some guys up here. We'll continue to have guys up that are freshmen and sophomore, and the relationship piece that is being built, we're able to get on these guys a lot earlier. That's helped with this class in some areas and looking forward to the classes in the future. And again, we talk about that footprint, and we're going to continue to keep pounding that footprint.
Thomas over here to the left.
I don't
Hey,
think it's any
Thomas.
secret. How you doing today?
No injury reports.
No injuries.
Okay. All right.
I don't think it's any secret you guys faced a lot of negative recruiting down the stretch.
Yeah.
How pleased were you that you were able to overcome some of that late?
Well, I always get a kick out of that. It's something that we will never do. It's something that we just don't believe in. And yet, here's the interesting stuff. Some of that catches fire, and then all of a sudden the truth comes out, and who looks like the idiot? The guy who reported it, right? And yet, that's okay. That's all part of it. The one thing is when you're at a place like the University of Florida, you're a target because everybody knows the ability and what can happen as this thing keeps growing. So, you know what? We'll take a lot of targets. We'll take some of that stuff, and yet our coaches won't do that. We're not going to stoop to that level because that's not the level that is the Florida Gators. It's that simple, and yet it is what it is today. The ability to put anything you want out there and really nameless and not be responsible for it, that happens. And yet we got a good laugh out of it too when it was getting hit, and the guys who obviously jumped back on board that they were trying to sway. So.
And then I know down in Tampa you had said that you had hoped to have the assistant coach in position going into that recruiting stretch.
Yeah.
What did it being down 2 full-time assistants do to you guys? Did that affect your efforts at all?
We kind of had all the guys targeted really already. We kind of knew where we were, even in the positions. So the one thing we wanted to do was make sure we get the absolute right fit. The plan is still there. We've had the plan. That'll happen here shortly. And yet the guys did an outstanding job that had the relationships with the guys already. So it wasn't one of those things, where that one was going to turn one or another. And we felt making sure that it's the right fit, number one, and guys that absolutely want to be Gators too, number two.
Pat, back to the right. Pat, you got it in front of you.
Hey, Pat.
How's it going?
Good, bud.
Right there.
Hello.
How are you?
I know you're often oblivious to your fan base being when they get negative.
Yeah.
When it got pretty negative a couple weeks ago with a certain guy that decommitted. I mean, is there ever a point where you just want to say, "Hey, you guys aren't helping here," or "Don't worry, we've got this under control," or do you just kind of have to just ignore it?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to understand that every coach that has been here before me has told me that. All right, they're aware of it. In fact, might have driven a couple out, and but that's okay. That's all part of it. As you know, and even being around our guys, being able to affect the people around you in a positive way is really what it's all about, and that's what our team does. And no one can ever control, again, what is out there. And yet, here's the good thing. Something's out there. And people do care. They're passionate. It's how they maybe show their passion. I got a lot of people I know that they really get their kicks out of just being negative, And you know what? There might be a few out there, and yet at the same time, we've got, for every one of those, there are multiple people that are really excited about what we're doing and what we're building. As you see the direction of the administration and what they're allowing us to do and moving forward has been nothing but positive. And yet, there's no doubt the negative piece out there is something that you always have to battle, and yet we're not the only staff that's ever had to battle that either.
Mike, go to the left.
Do you ever read the message boards?
No.
So you've never gotten on a message board and said, what are these guys talking about?
No, I've got people obviously in the office that say, hey, Mac, you're taking shots from all over the place. But we get a kick out of it too. And here's the one thing, Mike. We do live in America. We have freedom of speech. I get it. I know where we're headed. I know the direction. The administration knows the direction, the support out there. And as I say it, the amount of even letters, old school handwritten letters that we get about the positive things that we're doing and the direction we're headed really outweigh all of that. And yet we love to harp on the negative. It's human nature. We're harping on the positives. We got a lot of really good things going on.
So midway through this recruiting process, when there was a lot of negativity that Pat was talking about, does it bother?
You must read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Does it bother you when people were questioning your recruiting prowess?
No, because I think you take a look at what we've done and the amount of young guys that we've played already in the first 2 years that, you know, I don't know, they fit. Some of them have become freshman All-American, in fact. And, you know, I think that once you get caught up in just whatever the names and all that and not worry about making sure that positionally you get the fits that you need, that sometimes hurts you a little bit. Now, did we get every single guy? No. Did we get a lot of them that maybe some other people weren't recruiting as highly or whatever, but we actually had ranked where we had them ranked in our evaluation? Yeah, absolutely right, and we're excited about those guys.
Mark, off to the right, and then Robbie will get you up front.
Can you talk about the South Florida effort? I mean, Miami-Dade, Broward, nearly half the class from there. And can you comment on and maybe share something on the Randy Shannon effect, what people were saying after you promoted him to D.C.?
Well, I mean, from the time we were able to hire Randy, obviously he's been a right-hand guy of mine, a guy that comes with, you know, unbelievable credibility, obviously, from that area as well. You know, we've had some other guys down there helping. But, you know, his name and his recognition, and more so how he is also a part of wanting to make sure that he affects young men's lives in a positive way. He knows he can be trusted. And you know what? He's a heck of a ball coach, too, now. And, you know, that transition into the defensive coordinator spot was something that was pretty simple and we could make in a hurry because we're excited about that. And, you know, as a lot of our coaches, you know, a lot of people speak very highly of him.
Robbie up front to the left here, Coach.
Coach, you talk about the secondary class and how important it was to fill that need.
Well, I mean, just look at the numbers. If we wouldn't have hit on a couple of those, it could have been like our O-line was the first spring I was here, you know, and yet we weren't just trying to fill with bodies. We got some quality, and that's what's exciting.
In the class, are you done recruiting now, or are there
No,
some other
that
guys
we-
you're waiting on?
Yeah, we still got a couple spots, and I think a couple more will hit here, and some things that we know are in motion for later down the road. But all our spots will get filled. Yeah.
Edgar.
Yeah, so back to the so-called rankings. So you guys put your faith in evaluations is kind of what you're saying.
Well,
So,
I think-
so in the
I
Jim
think- I
in the
think
Jim
every-
McElwain rankings, you have a number of elite players in this class, in your opinion.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the rankings?
Pardon me?
What are your thoughts on the rankings?
Well, I think it's great. It's a time of year you get another chance to, you know, go out there and compete for a scoreboard, I guess. It is what it is. I don't know where we're going to finish, but I know this. I sure like the guys we got.
All the way in the back, Coach, straight in the back.
Back here. Being able to sign James Robinson, what type of jolt does that give to you guys in the team last minute? It took you a little bit of time to get in here. What does that provide for you guys?
Well, I think he's well, we got another one in. So I think that he's just part of that class. There's a really good class, and you know, we're excited about him as we are a lot of the guys, and obviously all of them that are with us. And together, these guys will keep growing and keep getting better, and that's what it's all about. They don't know this?
No, they don't.
Well, we'll just keep it a secret. Next. There you go, right? No, we just announced, or I guess just got Darius Lemons, running back out of Clearwater. So.
Thomas.
Well, I guess
I
first
think
question,
that adds.
what's your evaluation of him, and what does he bring
I
to the
think
table?
that adds to that group in the state of Florida, I think. So, that somebody asked about, right? Because he is from Florida, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Pretty decent guy. Yeah.
So that was one thing you said you wanted to fix last year, and you
Yeah.
said you guys are on a very positive trajectory here.
Yeah.
What's the next thing to fix? Because I know you're always looking to improve.
Well, I think that new facility that you're going to see right over there is going to have a big thing to do with it. Obviously, the attack in the dorms is going to be a big thing to do with it. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and yet you can't do it all at once. Those are all things that happen over time, and here's the good thing. We got a commitment towards it.
Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
How significant is it to get Slayton in here, and is he definitively going to be a defensive line guy?
Yeah, he's a guy that, again, big body, right? We needed to do that, and that'll be the first spot that he'll be at. Yeah.
And how important was his signing given the lack of depth at D tackle on this team?
Oh man, I'm telling you that the body types, that's what I'm getting at. And like I said, there'll be some more spots as we kind of go, and yet that was a body of need for us, and getting Conliffe early yesterday really helped too. Yeah.
Any concern with his ability to play D-line given that he's been mostly an offensive line?
No, there's enough clips on that, where he's been in there as well, so been able to play both sides.
Nick, over to the right.
Defensive line, specifically interior, was a big need for you guys. Do you feel like with the guys you're able to bring in that you set a foundation for the next coming years?
Yeah, and I think, here comes the important part now. A guy like Kerry Clark, Taven Bryan, those guys, making sure that they help, just like guys help them, on the inside, just like Joey did with them and Caleb, being able to really push those guys and teach them what it is to play. Because obviously, as you know, they're going to have to play against Michigan that first game. There's going to be a lot of new bodies in some of those spots. So we're going to have to grow up quickly.
Mike, over here to the left.
Coach, you were at the basketball game the other day and said next year you want to kick the door down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
How hard is it going to be to kick the door down when Alabama, again, like I think it's their 7th straight #1 recruiting class? I mean, how do you compete with that?
Well, just get a bigger hammer, but steel-toed boots this time, all right, instead of tennis shoes. But, no, we're looking forward to it. I know this. We've got a good football team. We've got a bunch of good players. And we got a bunch of guys committed to something that, you know what, our first recruiting class now has been to Atlanta back-to-back years. I don't know how many recruiting classes in the SEC have ever done that. They understand what it is and what it is. Now, what they need to do is they need to impart some of that with these guys and really get them indoctrinated in the way we're going to do things. And, part of it is an expectation. Part of it is a mindset about how you go about your work. And we're going to find a lot out at spring, but I would say we're going to find the most of it out in the summer and as we prepare to play Michigan in that first game.
Also, I think this is the first time there's ever been like a pep rally at the recruiting press conference. Was that your idea, and why did you come up with it?
I'd love to take it, credit for all the great ideas. Do you like it? Okay, if you like it, it was my idea. All right. Did not so? I don't know who did it, but here's the one thing. You've got to continually evolve, and no matter what you do, you can't stay the same. And, in doing that, no matter what the event, let's go ahead and shake it up a little bit. Let's not do the same old song and dance. And you know what? Having the band here, having these two reptile people here, all right, having the squad here, this is, it's about the students too. And one of the things that's lost, I think, is we're a representation of our students and obviously the University of Florida. So to have them around, man, that's pretty awesome. And none of you guys are missing class, are you? No. Oh, there's one back there. Okay, I'll write the note though. I'll excuse you.
Ryan, over here to the right in the front.
Going back to Robinson, what changed in the last couple of days, or was there misinformation out there about the holdup with him?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of misinformation out there, as somebody, I think, alluded to about negative reports. Was it you? I mean, yeah, I mean, it just blows me away sometimes as far as what is actually said and what is real. And yet, that's okay. I mean, everybody deals with it. So, you know what? We're excited that we're going to be a big part of helping him as we do all our players. And note one thing. As soon as you start throwing stones at somebody for making a mistake, look in the mirror and see if you've ever made one yourself. And yet the most important thing is knowing he's going to have a great support system here, as all our players do, to help him be successful and learn from different things that go on. And he's committed to that, as are a bunch of guys on our team. And, you know, the guys on our team itself, they can tell you, we truly care, more than just if you can score touchdowns. We've got a lot of guys that haven't ever even played, that are learning a lot and given a chance to be successful and grow in life. And ultimately, that's what it's all about.
And then just personally, what are these few days, the build-up like for you? Do you get much sleep? How do you manage everything that's going on?
Well, you know, in general, I don't sleep very much anyway, so it's really nothing there. You know, we'll come in tomorrow. Got a couple things to wrap up. Got a couple coaches to hire, and we'll get that done here shortly, and try to give the guys a little time. But we'll have people on campus here continually, you know, all the way through spring ball. Obviously, take a couple days at spring break. We're going to start spring practice a couple days before spring break. Actually get 2 of our non-padded practices on the install. Go ahead and go through spring break, come back, get a good just workout in on the Monday, and then start from there. I'm excited about the spring practice schedule. We're going to go ahead and do our Friday night gig again, which was really well received, and thanks to the university for making room for it. But something that has really caught a buzz out there. We've been able to get a lot of players, you know, to come to that, and you know, we've got to get a bunch of former players back to it too, and that's going to be a big emphasis for us as we kind of keep tweaking what we're doing to continually grow. And you know, it should be a lot of fun. The schedule itself, though, as it goes. And I know this is, you asked me about rest. There is no rest. You got to kind of continually go. That's what it is. And, you know, I think being able to have those days in between where you're not having many back-to-back practices, I think really helps you in a learning standpoint to be able to get good study on what you did before. And then it also is going to allow us to get some extra days to get young guys on campus to come see the things they haven't seen before.
Yeah, is Kadarius Toney going to play quarterback in the spring?
Yeah, he's a quarterback.
Okay, he was listed as athlete. Are you thinking?
He's an athlete too.
Yeah, but are you thinking of maybe shifting him
he's
to
a good
receiver?
athlete, in fact. Yeah.
Could he be a receiver possibly down the road? Or?
Yeah, I think so. The one thing I was never probably accused of was being a receiver. I was kind of stuck. He is an athlete, but yeah, he's going to play quarterback.
Will Felipe open the spring as the starting quarterback?
You know, I haven't really thought about it, but do you want him to?
I think that it looks like that's going to be the case.
Okay, let's do it.
Any more questions for Coach? Here, I'm sorry, Zach in the front, then Nick after that.
Zach is killing you today, Nick. I mean,
all the time. Jim, I want to ask you about Ardarius Lemons and kind of the roller coaster that he's been on. I know at one point he was your guys' top running back target. I think he was the #1 rated running back in Florida. Then midway through his senior year, his life kind of turned upside down. He had to go to a secondary school to improve his academics. And I know his goal was to get back into your guys' class. Can you just speak to the journey that he's been on, all the work that he put in?
You know, I'm proud of him because, you know, sometimes these guys can, you know, when you go through things, you can just say, hey, I quit.
Yeah.
you're talking about some guys who got something to them, some substance, some guys who have really committed to getting themselves ready. Now, in some of the cases, obviously, there's still some work to do, and yet, you know, he's not the only one that's had some tough things go on. You know, there's a lot of guys that are coming in that have had some things, and yet the key is not feeling sorry for yourself, you know, and not using that as an excuse, but rather let's use it as an avenue and really a drive to go up and do something great. Obviously, they get both running backs is huge. And, you know, again, part of our focus was to make sure that we did a good job in that area and that area of the state, and I think we've accomplished that.
And then defensive back was obviously a huge need for you guys this year. And as you know, some kids at some positions, if there's too many guys that commit, they'll say, well, I'm not going to go to that school because they're full. You had two guys commit early in Sean and Marco, and yet they were trying to bring in a bunch of other guys from South Florida to join them as DBs. Can you
Says a lot about them. Yeah. And not only that, but usually the ones that say, oh, you're recruiting too many people, do you really want them on your team? I mean, I don't know that if you're afraid of competition, go somewhere else, right? So I think that being used as an excuse might be an out, you know, if that makes sense. And yet the guys who have chosen to come are ready to compete. And they know also it takes more than just one guy to lock down a position. You know, you've seen the rotation and how we rotate guys defensively and offensively. So your opportunity to play, obviously that line is real short as far as getting a rep. And the only way I know you get better is you take reps, and those guys are going to get a lot.
Nick, and then Mark over here. Nick.
Can you tell us about the ceremony you had for the guys who were already here?
Yeah, that was pretty. I like that. So these guys that are here at mid-year, everybody else is right now that's signing in that class. You know, they're on TV and they got whatever and all this stuff. So we had our own signing party for those 5 guys. We had them put the hat on. We had them sign the paper in front of our team. We had them give us their best dance moves. Boy, we got some bad dancers, by the way. And but it was good. It was a celebration for those guys. Just to be recognized, especially in front of their peers, as obviously incoming guys. So it was just, look, I really enjoy being around our team. They're fun to be around, and this was just another opportunity to get around the guys.
Mark over here to the left, and then Tom.
Safe to assume none of those guys pulled a Levi Jones?
No.
Okay. You get any personal?
Here's the amazing thing about that is like people think that you don't know, right?
We had this conversation
I mean,
earlier,
everybody knows. I mean, I don't know what the suspense is. I mean, there isn't anybody in America or coach that sits there and goes, oh, geez, you know? I always get a kick out of that, like, hey, this is a big announcement, right? Well, the guy told the people 48 hours ago or whatever. So you make plans moving forward is what I'm getting at.
What do you get any personal satisfaction out of maybe proving people wrong? You know, you couldn't certainly get to Atlanta last year or the year before.
No.
You certainly were the worst recruiter in America a week
Still
ago. Do you get? I mean, when you succeed like that, do you get any personal satisfaction out of it?
Look, growing up my whole life, it's been kind of the deal. You know, it isn't like I got this pedigree of all this greatness. You know, that isn't what it is, and yet, I don't know, for whatever reason, we found ways to stay alive, be pretty successful, and do a lot of really good things. But not only winning games and the recruit piece and all that, but being involved in guys' lives. And I think sometimes that's lost. It's lost with a whole bunch of people. But I guess, you know, no one's ever said I was going to win a beauty contest. There's no doubt. My wife did, though.
She won one? I believe that.
No, she said I won.
Oh, I thought you said she won a beauty contest. I would have believed that,
but
too.
she did, too.
Yeah. Okay. Luke Del Rio, any chance that he's played his last collegiate game?
No, he did have surgery, so he's out for spring. You didn't even hit me with that. I didn't even think of that. as we were talking about the quarterback situation. Did you pass the torch?
I got to.
Okay. But he's in you don't want to, all right. He's obviously in a sling. He'll be out all spring. And it was I'm just going to say how tough this guy was. And I go back, I told you that was totally on me, that Arkansas game. He wasn't. And come to find out, as the MRI showed, we got it fixed. Let's put it that way.
So you'll like this one.
Okay.
All right. So fans always want to say you had it planned all the way through. You wanted a big finish on National Signing Day. No? You'd rather have it locked up before then?
Again, it kind of goes back, I think, to what we were talking about earlier. I mean, we knew, and yet some of these guys want to have their day in the spotlight, right? Hey, coach, don't tell anybody, but send me the papers.
Can you use that though? I mean,
Have you ever? Here's the beautiful thing. It's some of the nomenclature that has been created in recruiting over the last years, obviously with. Have you ever? Silent verbal. Yeah. Well, silent verbal. How do those fit? I don't know. I'm learning, right? But
You got a few silent verbals.
we had a whole bunch of them.
I guess my point is you guys move up from, I think it was like 31 in the rankings a week ago to something 11, maybe even top 10 now. I mean, can you take that forward, as momentum and kind of build on that?
I don't know. We don't know what we're doing.
Ryan, and after that, any final questions after Ryan, we'll wrap it up soon, guys.
All right.
You touched on it earlier, but Elijah and TJ.
Watch it. See, if you had one of those things, if you had Edgar's partner.
Been telling them all year.
So, I bet you could fit that. I bet you there's one of those for that. Don't you think? All right. Go ahead.
Getting Elijah and TJ laid, how does that change the way you feel about this class overall, feeling that big need and having it kind of come together these last couple days?
No, that's like I said. When you go into it, hey, these are the need areas and these are the number areas. In other words, what you try to do, and you try to balance what you can. I think we've balanced things really well, and we've answered some needs. Now, as I said at the beginning, I'm not ready to anoint any of these guys as, surefire first-round draft picks in 3 years. But I will say this, our track record of developing players is pretty good, and we got some pretty good guys, and I'm excited about them.
And then since Luke came up, the press release said non-throwing shoulder, but we thought he had hurt his throwing shoulder during that game. Was there 2 injuries? Or?
Yeah, it was 2 injuries and the knees. He was just missing one knee. All the other appendages, he had every appendage but one was tough guy, man.
Any final questions for Coach?
Well, guys, you have a great time. We're going to head back to the office, finish this up, and if you don't mind, I think we'll go enjoy a nice evening of celebration with a great class and what was it, a strong finish? Is that what it was? All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Crank that thing up.